Lots of wasps' nests. Okay, so where we were at, I got all of the rust out of the floor. I took the front panel off. I've since removed the stiffeners off of these front pillars. They were all completely rusted up and they've had it. So we've got to fix those. I've made a new floor. We have here a new floor out of 1.4mm steel, and I've treated the underside with zinc oxide, and that's ready to go in. So our next job is put in the new floor, weld it all in, and then start repairing all the rust in the front panel and putting the front back on. I didn't film a lot of me making this and fixing the chassis rails. It was just a lot of work, a lot of hours in cutting and welding and grinding, and a lot of it was probably pretty boring, so I didn't bother filming a lot of that. But we'll get to see this installed. So we're putting this in. Next job is a fairly big welding job. This is going to be all welded in. It's going to be spot welded or plug welded back onto the chassis. I've treated the inside of the chassis with bitumen paints. So it's undercoated with the rust zinc paint, and then it's all treated with the with bitumen paint. So next job is to get this in. So let's get on with that. Okay, so we're making more progress. The floor's in, and she's welded all around there to the existing steel. And then I had to recreate the sill. So this is the sill on this side. Is repairable, still okay, but the sill on this side was completely gone. So as you've just seen, just in photos, I made a new sill and attach that to the floor there. So the next job is these rotten A pillars. They've both got to be reattached. Now I was able to score some panels from a company called CMS in the Netherlands. They have some very limited stock of new old stock parts, and so I was able to get some patch panels. So I'll come around here and I'll show you where I'm at. At the moment I'm about to weld in this little piece I've made here to finish the bottom of that A-pillar and reattach it to the sill. And then these stiffener panels, one there which gets fitted on there, tighten that up and reattaches to the sill, and a new stiffener here which takes the door hinges, and another one which is here. So I was really rapt to get these panels. These were going to be very difficult to make because they were so badly rusted I didn't know what they looked like. And one that goes on there too. So that will strengthen up and reattach, reinforce all of the A panels. So I've got those parts, almost all of those parts for both sides. So that's the next job, welding all these parts in. I'm not going to film much of this because, as I've said before, there's literally hours and hours of welding and grinding, and it's very tedious. So that's this B pillar all repaired. So I've recreated this entire box section here and remade that and welded it on. Unfortunately, I can't get a new B pillar, no longer available. So from here down I've rebuilt it and I've welded all steel in. What you can see here, this grey stuff, is a metal sort of epoxy filler, I suppose, that I've used just to help smooth it off, and that's all got to be sanded yet. And I've recreated all this part under here. At the top here there was quite a big hole, if you remember in the previous video. So I've put a patch plate in there, I've welded it all in, and then again I've just used a bit more of that grey epoxy filler, which will be sanded, and then normal body filler will be put over the top to smooth it. Okay, so we're winning with the rust. So we've only got the rust in the back wall to repair and up on the roof to repair. There's a few holes there, but most of that's surface, so we should better grind that off. In the previous video, some of you guys were asking what I did with the steel fitted at the back of the tray here outside at the top, where I've welded it along there, sealed it with industrial automotive sealer, and then I've taken it underneath the floor, and that comes out under here. So that will be welded to the floor in here, and then the back will be welded down onto it. In the back here we also have to repair the seat belt mount, and this whole back ridge here has rusted away. So we're going to cut this out, and we're going to weld in a new piece all the way along there, and we'll remove all the surface rust, hit it with the wire wheel, and see how we go. This is the passenger side door. So this needs a lot of work. I'd love to be able to just find a replacement door, but I can't. So we're going to have to cut this out, weld in some new steel there, cut all this out, rub the whole door back and repair it. We've also got the whole of the bottom there's all rusted out. So as I've done so much welding and repairing, I'm not going to bother filming all of this. I'm just going to jump in the time machine, shoot ahead, and then this will all be finished magically for us. So let's go. And there we are. So we've got the new steel welded in there. Still needs a little bit of sanding and filling just to smooth it off. So I've welded in a new piece along the bottom, and all the skirt in there's all been repaired. So it looks good. At a later date I want to replace these doors if I can find some. So if there's anybody out there on internet land here in Western Australia who has a set of these doors, please let me know, because I would still like to get rid of these. They're in pretty bad condition. But hopefully this will get them get them back on the car, get the car back on the road and back in use, and I can replace them at a later date. So now I've got to continue with the same job on the driver's side door, which is in about the same condition. So I'll cut this out, weld all that up, and then get these doors back on. So that's it. The rust is done. A major step towards restoring this old truck, and it's beginning to look like a mini truck once more. We've replaced a lot of the panels and bits and pieces, made a few, and I think it's come up pretty good. There's still a lot more I have to do to it. It's about 90% there, the bodywork is. We've still got the wet sand, which will smooth it all off and get it ready for its top paint. So yeah, still a lot of lumps and bumps to be sanded out and sorted out yet. But I don't want to go on to doing any more with the body of the car until all the mechanics are finished. So hopefully the next video is going to be a bit more interesting. We're going to rebuild the engine, which is on the stand here next to me. This is the engine and gearbox. It's a little 360cc 2-cylinder air-cooled engine, and this is the whole drivetrain basically, the gearbox and the engine in one. So we're going to be pulling that apart in the next video, going through it and rebuilding it and getting it going. So that should be interesting. We've also got the rear axle and the front axles and suspension to go through. We've got all the brakes have got to be replaced, the brake lines, the wiring loom. There is so much yet to do before this truck is finished. This has taken me quite a while. It's been about 6 months, I think, since my last video. And if you've been waiting for an update, I do apologise. I do have other commitments other than YouTube, and for several months I had to stop work on this while I took care of those. But now I'm back on deck, and we're going to be hopefully releasing videos more regularly. This truck is not being restored to showroom condition, obviously. I intend to use it, so I don't want to make it so beautiful that, you know, I'm too scared to take it out and scratch it. Firstly, I don't have the skills for that, and secondly, I want to use this thing. I live out here in the bush in Australia. We've got gravel roads. It's a bit rough, so I want to have this back as a work ute that here at Machinery Rescue we can use it for going out, collecting parts, and actually having a bit of fun in it. So important thing is to get it back to a standard where it'll pass road inspection and be able to get back into use. Arigato gozaimasu to my Japanese viewers, and there's quite a few of you watching to see this old truck come back to life. Alright guys, take care. Thanks for watching. All the best.